Welcome to Microsoft Dynamics 6 Forms, Trade and Logistics 2, Remote Training Day 4. So here you see my introduction. I'm Utrone Bika from Curity Ltd. My experience with product 6 years, specialization financial management, trade and logistics, project, human resource management. Here you see my email. Things you need to know. You need to do your exercise study by yourself. I read your questions before Friday at 12 p.m. Notice time is GMT. Here you see my email. On the same, in next 2 hours, we will cover Chapter 1, Item Registration, Chapter 2, Reservations and Marking, Chapter 3, Item Returns. And before that, let me do a quick review of Trade and Logistics 1. So, we covered those chapters, those topics: system overview, purchase and sales orders, sales quotation, inventory, sales order and purchase order posting, serial and batch numbers, over under delivery and miscellaneous charges, quarantine management, inventory reporting, and statistics. Trade and Logistics 2 objectives. Over the next 3 days, we will cover the following as related to Trade and Logistics 2. Item registration, item reservations and marking, item returns, customer and vendor trade agreements, inventory closing and adjustments, inventory journals, transfer orders, and commissions. So now, talk about Chapter 1, Item Registration. We have those objectives. Explain how the inventory dimension group, the inventory module group, and the counterable parameters affect the item registration setup. Setup and process an automatic and a manual 1-step and 2-step registration of edits. Explain how to register serial and batch numbers during the picking process. During the pick process, work with a transaction in the pick form to edit, reverse, and split picks. Set up the release sales order picking form. Allocate on-hand inventory for sales order picking. Item registration setup. Microsoft Dynamics 6 can be set up to facilitate the picking process automatically or manually by requiring the user to record the item number, configuration, quantity, and dimensions before physical update can be recorded. So settings that affect how the pick process performs are specified in Dimension Group. The Dimension Group determines which storage dimension should be recorded in the pick process. In the Inventory Module Group, the Inventory Module Group controls the items picking requirements. In account receivable set of parameters. In the account receivable parameters, we set up whether the picking should be automatic or manual or explosion. So let me show the slides with Dimension Group. So as I said earlier, an item dimension group determines which storage dimensions can add and should be recorded in the pick process. So here you see in this picture that storage dimension, warehouse, batch number, and serial number are this green color, so it means they are active. And item which has this dimension group will be controlled by system in the picking process according to those 3 storage dimensions. Let me show Inventory Module Group. So here you see two options: output order and picking requirements. So picking requirement checkbox determines whether the item's inventory records must have a status 6 before a parking slip can be physically updated or before an inventory journal can be posted. So if item has inventory module group with active option picking requirements, first of all, it's necessary to post picking slip, then picking registration, and only after that, system allows to post parking slip. When output order option is selected, picking is managed through output order. The form makes sure that this checkbox is clear when registering it from the sales order. The output order feature is covered in warehouse management. So basically, if you are going to use this option is related to warehouse management module. So if you are going to manage your picking list in the sales order, the picking requirement option has to be selected and output order has to be blank. If you are going to manage your picking process in the form output orders and you have warehouse management model, it's necessary to have both of those options active, picking requirements and output order. So now talk about account receivable parameters. So in the account receivable parameters, transactions can be set up for automatic picking. So now we talk about the picking list field group. You see in the box, 3 fields. Automatic reduction picking list, set inventory transaction to pick, use default language. So we'll talk about automatic reduction picking list. So select this to reduce the quantity on the picking list to match the quantity available. If the full quantity is not available in stock. In this manner, a picking list is not made for items not in stock. So another option says inventory transaction to pick. Select this to have the picking list update to automatically set the inventory transaction to pick. So if you are going to use picking list updating, automatic picking list updating function, set this option. This option has to be active. Use default language. Use the default language code from your own company information when printing the picking list. So if your default language is English, for example, or another language, and you want to use this language in your picking list, it's necessary to select this option. A picking process can be set up in 3 different ways: in automatic, manual 1-step process, and manual 2-step process. Automatic. So used in situation where a response to the picking list is not necessary. When, for example, the items sold are always in stock. Manual 1-step process used when the dimension values are known at the time of picking. And manual 2-step process used when the dimension values are not known at the time of picking. We'll talk about automatic registration of EPIC. EPIC can be automatically registered by selecting the set inventory transaction to pick box. So we talked about options, set inventory transaction to be picked. So when this option is active, EPIC can be automatically registered in the system. Automatic registration of EPIC means that the sales order can continue to the parking list update after posting the picking list, because the picking list registration step is automatically completed. Manual registration of the pick. We have two steps. One-step process. This process is used when the dimension values are known at the time of picking and can be specified during the pick process. So the process involves registering the actual dimension values when you post the pick. And two-step process. This process enables you to pick the items before knowing the dimension values. Then the dimension values are recognized, then the picking list registration are posted, and the process involves posting and printing a picking list of items to be picked in the warehouse, and registering the actual dimension values and posting the picks. Now let me show the exercise 1.1. I'm going to show the manual registration to a pick with two-step process. Let me show my dynamic text font. So first of all, I need to verify I close window. First of all, I need to verify if my option set inventory transaction to fixed is clear. So I open account receivable module. Under folder setup, I open the form parameters. On the tab update, so my option is clear. So here you see three options: automatic reduction picking list, set inventory transaction to fix, and use default language. Okay. Now I need inventory model group. So in the inventory management, on the folder setup, on the folder inventory, I open the form inventory module group, and I have already created my inventory model group picking requirements, and on the tab setup, I have active picking requirements option. And you see that my output order is blank. So now I'm going to use my picking process in sales order. Go to the account receivable module. Open the form sales order. I already have my sales order. Customer line, enter quantity 37, and click button posting and picking list. So in the via inquiries, I can show that I already have picking list, line, and I can review my inventory transaction. So you see reference sales order, and issue status is fixed. So item gains issue status 6 after picking list posting and picking list registration posting. So after picking list registration posting, item gains status 6. So serial and batch numbers are inventory storage dimensions and can only be allocated to items where the inventory dimension group allows for it. So when the dimension values, serial number and batch number are enabled, they must be specified unless blank issue is enabled for the storage dimension for either individual items or item locked in the picking process. So let me show exercise 1-2 in this exercise and I'm going to show a registration of serialized inventory. So in the same sales order form, I allocate my sales order. So before that, it's necessary to have inventory model group the picking requirements, and I assign to my item this inventory model group. Let me show. Inventory model group, in which on the tab setup, I selected option picking requirements. I close the necessary window. I posted a purchase order for this item, and after that I created sales order. Now I have sales order, customer, online, I selected quantity 5. After that I click button inventory and menu line pick. So here you see that I registered based on serial and batch numbers. So you need to click button auto create in the line to select batch number and serial number and click button poster. So let me show the transaction. Here you see the system for me registered. I have issues fixed and quantity -1, and system updated with different serial numbers and the same batch number. So now this order is ready for packing slip and invoice. During the picking process, you can work with the transaction in the text form. So to allow for the attribution of different inventory dimensions values, a text line can be reversed, edited, and split. So now let me show on this sales order. So first of all, I can pick. I click button inventory, pick, and I from the quantity 20, I picked quantity 9. Now I can reverse. So I select the line with issue status 6. I select auto create. You see the system for me created a line with minus sign. So I can pause. And I already have status on order. So I can pick again, for example, this one, and pause. I have picked 4. So I can edit. I can, if I want to pick only 5, I can edit. If it is necessary, I can split. So the split function is used when items must be divided, for example, when picking both serial and batch numbers, or when they are to be picked from several warehouses. So click button split, and I can split quantity. Okay, I split it. And I can assign different serial number or different batch number for splitted quantity. So if only pay attention that if you use reservation type automatic in your line, on the tab setup, we have 3 types. We will cover these types a little bit later. If you use automatic, in the reversing process, in the reversing picking process, system updates not on order status, but physical reserve. So if you use on your line reservation automatic, or if you use on your sales header reservation automatic, system will update status with reserve physical, not on order. So let me show a release sales order. Talk about release sales order. First of all, in the accounts receivable module, under folder setup, I'm going to talk about customer classification group. The release sales order functionality has been introduced to give warehouse employees an overview of the sales orders that are to be released for picking based on actual availability of items and considering customer service priority. So customer priority is defined in the form customer classification group. For example, priority 1, priority 2, priority 3. We simply create records in customer classification group for customer priority defining. So customer classification groups enables you to flag customers according to service priority. If bulk orders exist for sales order lines, one of the criteria that you can use to determine which sales orders must have quantity available allocated to them is the customer classification group that you attach to the customer for the line. So this is for warehouse manager comfortable job. Now let me show the release sales order picking. In the inventory management module, under folder periodic, open the release sales order picking. So first of all, system for me suggests dialog box for ranges. I select sales line status open order. Okay. In this form you see customer classification group. So I can sort, I can arrange by this customer classification group. For example, click button select, and I can range, I can review only customer which belong to customer classification group 1. I assign this customer classification group to customer table. So first of all, I'm going to pick the item for this for group 1. After that, I select another group and will pick items for another group. Okay, now I rearrange. Okay, so basically what I see in this form, I see all sales orders, and sales lines which have a status open order. I see quantity which is related with every sales line, and I see on hand which is related with sales line. So I see information in one place of sales line, quantity, and on hand. And this form is comfortable for warehouse manager. He doesn't need to open separately sales orders, doesn't need to open separately item on hand form, and he doesn't need to compare several forms for making decision for item picking process. In Dynamics AX form, user has a form release sales order picking in which you can see all sales lines with range, and you can filter based on sales line status. So now I see all sales lines with status open order. I can see related quantity with those sales lines and on hand. In the header, so now I'm going to talk about this form and how to use this form. In the header of form, there is the option deduct release for picking. So by using this option, you can eliminate any line for picking for which there is no available quantity to allocate. So now I eliminate. So by clicking button select, I can define what I want to see in this form, or the line status, ship date, warehouse. For example, I want to see on the sales line, which I'm going to deliver from specific warehouse, customer classification group, buyer group, item group. So You can use the selection criteria to, for example, only show the sales order lines with a shipment date at the start of next week, so that you can allocate on-hand inventory to orders that need immediate attention. You can sort sales order lines by the top customer classification group of the relevant customers, so that you can set priority of scarce on-hand orders to back orders for high priority customers. So now talk about the debt release for picking. This feature addresses the problem that some companies experience when they create picking lists without reserving items for the picking list. So this is for items without reserving. If your picking list updates a sales order line without reserving the items on the line, it may appear that these items are available for use in another order. So, in this situation, there is a conflict between sales orders and items for picking process. By selecting the deduct release for picking option, you make sure that any order line for which there is no quantity available and that has not been picking list update but not reserved are eliminated from the release sales order picking form. Because notice that several users work with the same form. Yes? And this option eliminates from the release sales order the orders with not available quantity. The for deduct release for picking enables order takers to option more clear picture of whether they can allocate on-hand items for the sales order line. So there is an example. Let me show. For example, a sales order. I will select the sales order. Exists for 500 pieces. So quantity of BR14 from warehouse GW. And if you look at the bottom of form, available physical is 864. The warehouse manager opens release sales order picking and see that for other sales order lines exist for the same item sales order. With this release for picking parameter is selected, the warehouse manager leaves the release sales order picking form open so that he can allocate on-hand items to sales order lines after his, for example, lunch break. During that morning, 2 of the other sales order lines are picking lists updated without the items being reserved because they are marked with a higher customer classification group and are therefore a higher picking priority than the sales order line, than this sales order line, because priority is 2. The warehouse manager returns and updates the release sales order picking form by clicking recalculate. So after some time, the sales manager, warehouse manager, clicks button recalculate, and all the sales order lines disappear as there is now no available items to fill the order. And in this way, users can eliminate the conflict between sales order and item picking availability. You may also be in the situation where quantity of items are available, but not the whole quantity. Picking list updated without being reserved at the same time. In this situation, you can see the amount that has been picking list updated but not reserved in the picking list not reserved field. So you see picking list not reserved field. So in this field, you can see the amount that has been picking list updated but not reserved. So you have a sales line. This is a sales line, sales order, customer, status open, sales line. You can review in the quantity panel. You can review quantity, delivered, picked, reserved physically, reserved ordered, reservation, picking list reserved, picking list not reserved. So picking list reserved shows quantities of the items of the current sales order line that have been updated with the picking list and reserved. In this case, the reservation prevents the items being allocated for another sales order. Picking list not reserved shows quantities for this line that have had the picking list printed for them, but that have not been reserved in the process. The forms, all of the items are still available for allocation elsewhere. They have, in fact, been allocated for this order step. So, by taking this field into account when allocating inventory to sales orders, you can make sure that you do not allocate on-hand items that have been picking list updated but not reserved for another sales order. And here's the on-hand field group. So this field group shows on-hand information on this moment and shows on-hand information related to sales line with item which is selected in the sales line. Here's the sales line, item number, and this is the same item number. So you see that at this moment in the warehouse there is physical inventory, there are no any physical reserves, available physical, and available for observation. For example, for another sales line, you see another item, and you see on-hand information. So this item in warehouse GW and in content warehouse has physical inventory more than 3,000 and 35 in warehouse GW. And available for observation only 35. So this is quarantine, in quarantine warehouse. Now keep look at checkbox, at those checkbox. So system activate checkbox, all orders deliverable. If all the selected orders with the same item dimension can be delivered. System activate requires allocation checkbox. If you have to decide about how hand items must be allocated to the sales order. System activate production order exists checkbox. If there is production order line that has a requirement for the same item with the same inventory dimension with an estimated date before or equal to the shipment date entered in the select dialog box. Transfer order. System activates this checkbox if there is a transfer order line that has a requirement for the same item with the same inventory dimensions with an estimated date before or equal to the shipment date entered in the select dialog box. So, and delivery percent possible. System updates value in this field. In that case, then the percent is calculated on the number of sales order lines that can be fulfilled for a sales order. So, this checkbox provides you with information about to what extent orders can be fulfilled and how to fulfill them. Now allocating content inventory for sales order line. So there are two possibilities how to do the allocation. I can allocate manually. So let me show another sales order. It is. If I want to allocate manually, I enter a value in field Activate Now. So look, system updates quantity in reserved physically and reservations. I can activate quantities from the sales order line by clicking button activation as well. So here you see for activation method. Clear Activate Now. Select this option to activate now and try on all the records in the form will be set. So clear Activate Now. In the Activate Now field, system will fill all quantities. All orders where entire order can be delivered. Select this option and the Activate Now field is filled in with a value from Activate Reminder. So here is the reminder, and system will fill the same quantities in field Activate Now. All orders that have status reserved physical. Select this option and the activation field is filled in with a value from the reserved physical field minus the value from the picking list reserved field. And all orders that do not require manual allocation. Select this option where activation field is filled with the value from Activate Reminder on all sales order lines that have the all orders deliverable checkbox selected. So you can fill manually line by line, or you can use the automatic function activation for filling which item will be involved in picking process. So then you have finished allocating on hand inventory. You can pick and list update the sales order line. After that, click button posting and update sales order with picking list. After that, the picking list registration. After that, parking list or invoice, what is required. So here you see the function, deliver reminder. So now let me show. I select this sales line, and I want to use deliver reminder. So here you see that my deliver reminder is 16. I can cancel quantity. The system will cancel sales line. So use this function to close back orders. If, for example, you have insufficient on-hand quantity to fill a sales order that has established that it is acceptable to the customer with make and under delivery. So the function works in a similar way to how it does in the sales order form. So again, deliver reminder. I can remove my quantity. Okay. So activate reminder. So I use a function deliver reminder for deliver remaining quantity management. I can trace my orders. So look at this. Reference sales order number, customer, warehouse. I can filter on order, reserved orders, reserved physical. So you see that one order has issue status reserved physical. I can click button reservation. And I can cancel reservation. Or I can review reservation. Inventory, I can review transactions on hand. I can manage reservation. I can review lots. I can manage picking process. I can create output orders. I can use dimension display. So this is release sales order picking form. It's a very useful form for warehouse managers, and this form connects sales orders with quantity status and on-hand status. I go back to my presentation file. So you see picture about editing, reversing, and split text. Editing, reversing, and splitting text is necessary if, for example, the wrong item is skipped, the order is cancelled, the quantity is not correct, an operating error occurs. Release sales order picking. The release sales order picking functionality has been introduced to give warehouse employees an overview of the sales order that are to be released for picking based on actual availability of items and considering customer service priorities. By using this platform for the picking process, we make sure that only picking lists for items in stock are created. So item registration review. We covered item registration setup, pick process setup, automatic registration of a pick, manual registration of a pick, serial and batch registration, editing and reversing pick, split pick, release sales order picking. Chapter 2, Reservations and Marking. We have those objectives. Set up inventory management and account receivable parameters for reservation, perform a manual reservation on hand and ordered quantities of an item, perform an automatic reservation for on hand and ordered quantities, identify how primary stocking form dimension affects automatic reservation and re-reservation, perform a reservation of the type explosion, view reservation and print reservation report, use the log reservation functionality. And so this objective continue. Cancel a reservation, perform a batch reservation, pick a reserved item for sales order, mark receipts and issue against each other using marking, identify the effects of dimension group parameters on marking, identify cost price calculation issues with regard to marking, identify the different elements of the marking dialog box, identify issues that may arise when marking across dimensions, and identify when item references are created between issues and received. Inventory quantities can be reserved for specific sales order. When inventory is reserved, it cannot be withdrawn from the warehouse for other orders unless the inventory reservation or part of it is cancelled. There are many reasons for reserving inventory. First ordered, first delivered means that customers receive available items in the order they are placed. A shortage of items when there is a long or unknown delivery time from the vendor. You may want to make sure that certain customers or orders receive delivery of the first available item. Certain customers and types of orders may have first priority with regard to delivery. When you work with items that have serial or batch numbers, you can reserve specific items from specific orders. Special ordered items can be reserved for certain orders. When you use production orders, you can reserve specific items that are produced for or adjusted to meet specific orders. And when you use the create purchase order and create direct delivery function from a sales order, reservations automatically made between the sales order and the attached purchase order. When you work with reservations, inventory dimension values are very important. For all items issued, inventory dimension values must be specified according to the item dimension group before physical picking occurs. The dimension values are specified directly on the line by using the pick dialog box for pick list registration on as a reservation. The two inventory dimension types to pay attention to when reserving inventory are as follows: storage dimension and item dimension. So notice that reservation applies only to on-hand inventory, not to a transaction. This means that you can make reservations on lines shown in the on-hand form and not on lines shown in the transaction form. Because there are on-hand inventories per dimension value, a reservation may occur on specific on-hand inventory as specified by the issue transaction dimension. However, if a reserved ordered item parameter is selected, you can also make a reservation on ordered but not received items. So, as I said, if a reserved ordered item checkbox is selected in the inventory management, you can reserve items that have been ordered but not yet received. I will show this parameter later. And there are three reservation types available in Microsoft Dynamics AX4: manual, automatic, and explosion. Manual reservations are performed in the reservation form. Open this form from the sales order or purchase order line. Automatic reservations reserve inventory automatically upon creating order lines. Inventory is reserved in the order that the order lines are created. For BOM, the reservation is on the BOM item number, not on the components which make up the BOM. Explosion. The explosion reservation option works according to the setup for master planning coverage for the item. whether a reservation is made on existing on-hand or ordered items or planned order is created to cover the requirement depends on the coverage settings for the item. So now let me show exercise 2.1. in which I am going to show manual reservations. I open my Dynamics AX form. I close my unnecessary windows. So let me show the option for reserved ordered items in the inventory management under folder setup. Open the form parameters. So here you see the option reserved ordered items. If this option is active, a user can reserve ordered items. In the account receivable module under folder setup in the form parameters, on the tab General, I have three options, three reservation types: manual, automatic, explosion. So these types are as default sales orders or journal as well. Now I select manual. I create a sales order in the account receivable module. Open the form sales order. I already have a sales order. So create a new sales order and lines. 2 lines. Quantity 2020. For first line, on the tab Setup, select Requested Receipt Date. I selected the 1st of June. And here you see in the line, System for me updated from the parameters type Manual. I can change type to Automatic or Manual. A second line, on the tab Setup, I change Requested Receipt Date with 30 of June. Now I'm going to post a reservation manual. So I select line. I select second line. Click button Inventory and Reservation. Menu line Reservation. So here you see my line. In the field Reservation, I can fill quantity, and you see that system in the field Reserved Physical updated quantity 20. In Log Reservation field group, I can log my reservation. And I can log for dimension, which is activate in my item dimension group. I can log, I can unlock. Now let me show inventory transactions. see reference sales order number, and issue status reserved physical. Quantity minus 20. I can cancel my reservation. So I click Inventory, Reservation, and in the field Reservation, I select 0, then Enter. And system for me updates available as 100 and total available. Let me show inventory transaction. You see that issue status on order. So I can lock and unlock reservation. I can post reservation. I can cancel reservation. Typically, automatic reservations are made on the oldest lot. The oldest lot is defined as the lot with the lowest dimension value sorted in alphanumeric order. So for automatic reservation, you can use options in some way. One of them to select the parameter reservation type automatic in account receivable parameters, and by default all new sales orders will gain reservation type automatic. Or you can create, for example, in this case my reservation type is manual, so I can create my sales order. Let me show the exercise 1-2. I'm sorry, 2.2, in which exercise requires to create automatic reservation. So I have my new customer. Okay. And on the tab Setup, you see the system updated reservation type manual. So I can change manual with automatic. And now for particular sales order, reservation type automatic is active. I create a line, a new line. For item, this one. Quantity 20. So now let me check reservation. Okay, I select another warehouse. I save these changes and inventory, reservation. I see in my warehouse the system for me reserved 20. The system did not reserve in the other warehouse because I have not any ordered or available quantity. So you see the system reserves automatically, and I don't need to reserve manually. And I can cancel as well. And I can lock and unlock. I go back to my presentation file. So here you see automatic reservation. All the slots is reserved first. Can reserve more than on hand. Inventory management parameters. As you remember, control reservation for orders with the status ordered by date, inventory module group, and LIFO, backwards from delivery date, FIFO, date control. Automatic reservation and selection of lots. This picture shows how the on-hand inventory with the lowest dimension number is reserved against when you create a sales order line with automatic reservation. So you see that for reservation system selected the oldest batch number and quantity. Date controls inventory module parameter and reservation. If you create a sales order with a line with automatic reservation selected when there is on-hand inventory to fulfill the order, the sales order automatically reserves the line quantity against that on-hand quantity. However, if there is insufficient or no on-hand for the item and the reserved ordered items parameter is selected in Inventory Management, Setup, Parameters, General tab, Microsoft Dynamics 64 makes reservations against quantities of items for which purchase order has the status ordered. In the situation where there are two or more receipts with different delivery dates, with the status ordered, as you see in the picture, which the sales order can be reserved against the two parameters, date control and backward from delivery date, determine which receipt is reserved against. So if top, then date controlled option is active. So if this option is active, reservation occurs according to the FIFO principle. This means that the complete sales order line quantity or quantity that is unavailable as on hand is reserved against the oldest purchase order with the status ordered with the delivery date falling before the delivery date of the sales order line. So as you see in the picture, there is a sales order and delivery date is today plus 22 days. And the option date control is active. So now system reserves according to FIFO principle. And the system reserves purchase order line with a delivery date today plus 7 days. Because on-hand inventory is equal to 0. And notice that option in the inventory management for ordered line reservation is active in this station. So now let me show another picture. Talk about backwards from ship date option. Reservation are proceeded according to the LIFO principle, that is, the receipt with the most recent date is reserved. So look at this picture, then both of those options are active, and we have sales order with delivery date today plus 22 days. System is looking for the closest, the most appropriate delivery date, and system finds purchase order that line today plus the delivery date today plus 21 days, and in this case system reserves this purchase order for sales order, and on-hand inventory is equal 0, and the option is inventory management for ordered transaction. Reservation is active. So there is two rules about primary stocking and reservation. Rule 1. The primary stocking dimension must be specified when physically updating item receipts or issues. When automatic reservation is active, items are reserved according to the selected primary stocking dimension, provided that the dimension is also specified for the actual item transaction. In other words, if a warehouse is specified as primary stocking and is also specified on a sales order line, automatic reservation only reserves items at this warehouse. If the primary stocking dimension is not specified on the line and automatic reservation, the reservation is made against the dimension with the lowest alphanumeric ID. And second rule, primary stocking and reservation, rule 2. If the primary stocking dimension value for an ordered reservation is changed upon physical receipt, the order line is not re-reserved. However, if a dimension is not primary stocking and a dimension value is changed on physical receipt, the line is re-reserved and updated to the new value. So remember those two rules. Now see the picture with explosion reservation. The explosion reservation works according to the master planning item coverage setup. This means that if, for example, a requirement lies far in the future, instead of reserving the sales order line against a purchase order close to today's date, that might lock up on-hand inventory for any orders that may lie closer to the purchase order delivery date. Master planning searches for purchase order closer to the ship date of a sales order line. The number of days that master planning looks back is defined in the positive days. You see the box, the red box, and in this box you see the positive days value 5. So master planning looks back in the term of 5 days in this case. So if master scheduling finds on hand which falls within the positive days time frame, a physical reservation is made between the sales order and on hand. However, if no on hand is found within the positive days time frame, a planned purchase order is created and no reservation is made. So here you see in picture the situation where master planning can find on-hand inventory for the item within the 5 days positive days time frame specified in the coverage group, as you see. So in this case, the sales order line is the for reserve against the on hand. There is next picture. In this picture, master scheduling cannot find any on-hand inventory for the items within the 5 days positive days time frame. Therefore, a planned purchase order is created to fulfill the requirement. There are several ways to view reservation on items or orders. How you select to view the reservation depends on what you want to know. The purpose of viewing reservation might be to answer questions about available items, inquire about delivery dates, view requirements for new purchases, view how items on hand or orders are reserved for various orders. So you can review reservation directly in the item form in the inventory management module by clicking on hand, and in the field physical reserve and authorized reserve you can review your reservation quantity. So in the field physical reserve, this field displays total quantity of the item. That's what physical reserve for the inventory dimension. The field appears when you total all issue transactions with the stated physical reserve. And other field, ordered reserve, displays the total quantity of the item reserved on ordered receipt of the inventory dimension. The quantity in this field is the total of all issue transactions with the stated ordered reserve. And as I mentioned, you can lock your reservations, you can cancel, and the additional function is you can back your reservation. And you can find this additional explanation in your manual. Picking reserved items. In Microsoft Dynamics 64, if an item to be picked has been reserved, the system proposes the reserved lot based on inventory dimension. In the picking list registration form, you can override this proposal. This means that you can propose another inventory dimension for the item. So this picture shows how reserving certain inventory dimension values means that they will be proposed when you come to pick the sales order line. Marking. Marking resembles reservations, but it enables you to relate receipts and issued transactions. The financial value will then not be determined based on inventory costing, but on the cost of the lot that was marked. This is important if you want to assign a specific item cost to an issue. It also makes sense when you return items. Marking is based on the cost of an inventory receipt lot and is considered by inventory closing. During inventory closing, the marking overrules the item's inventory model, setting FIFO, LIFO, and other inventory models that ordinarily used for finding the cost price for issue. Inventory closing always uses the cost price from the marked receipt. What can be marked is primarily determined by the inventory dimension setup of the financial inventory. If in the dimension group attached to an item, the dimension is included in financial inventory. So you see the checkbox financial inventory is active. So it means that the item dimension is included in the financial inventory. In this case, you can only mark issues against received with the same dimension value. In the however, if a dimension is not part of financial inventory, then you can mark across dimension values. So in the picture you can see that the dimension warehouse is included in financial inventory. It means that warehouse has active option financial inventory. This dimension group is attached to item CL100B. Therefore, when you try to mark an issue from warehouse GW for 10 pieces of L100B, only receipts at warehouse GW will be displayed and can be marked against. Although there are also receipts in warehouse NW and SW. You can find additional explanation and what they use for about cost price calculations in your manual. Let me show next slide, marking. So in the marking dialog box, you can find this dialog box clicking by inventory button, and you can find inventory button on the sales order line, purchase order line, inventory journal, item transaction, production order. So in marking dialog box, you can see 3 panels in the header. You can see sales orders, production orders, journals. You can see issue transactions. In the middle of the panel, you can see receipt transaction, and you mark your receipt transaction with issue. So how I do this? I select the checkbox set marks now, and I select the same dimension for issue and receipt transaction. After that, I click button apply, and system for me marks receipt, marks issue against receipt. Give me a second, I'm looking for exercise. If we have exercise, yes we have. Let me show. I go back to my Dynamics EX form. I close all unnecessary windows. Now I'm going to show the marking process. So I open accounts payable module, the form purchase order. Create a new purchase order. I already have my purchase order. Vendor, item, line with item, quantity 50, unit price 75, and purchase order number is 2031. Now I go to sales order, accounts receivable module, the form sales order, and I need to create a new sales order. I already have my sales order line, the same item, customer, In the same order, select lines and click button Inventory and menu Line Marking. So here you see issue transactions and receipt transactions. So I simply select 20. I simply type 20. Then I select checkbox Set Mark Now. I already did that. And button Apply. You see the sign. So this shows that this transaction is marked. You see cost price. And I close my window. I go back to my presentation file. Item reservation and marking review. We covered reservation options and parameters, performing manual reservations, setting up automatic reservations, using the explosion reservation function, using reservation from different views, using the lock reservations pane, canceling reservations, batch reservations, picking reserved items and updating dimensions on registration, marking and cost price calculation. Here you see Chapter 3 item returns. We have those objectives. Create a vendor or customer return using a negative quantity, the create credit note feature, and the purchase order type returns item. Return an item with multiple serial and batch numbers to a vendor or a customer. Create and set up a return action. Explain how return actions affect customer and vendor returns. Create a customer credit note with resaleable inventory. Create a customer credit note with non-resaleable inventory. Picture shows which modules are affected with regard to purchases and subsequent returns credit notes. Corresponding figure could be drawn for sales orders returns from customers. However, issues that relate to inventory and finance may differ. Vendor returns may be issued because of various reasons, such as damaged products or perhaps the vendor shipped them incorrect products. Microsoft Dynamics 8 requires that a vendor credit note is issued whenever items are returned to the vendor. There are 3 different ways to create vendor credit notes: using a negative quantity, a purchase order with a negative quantity attached, copying the original purchase invoice. The credit note is created from the original purchase invoice. Selecting order type returned item. The purchase order type is selected as returned item and not as purchase order. So now talk about negative quantity. The first method to create a vendor return is to specify a negative quantity on the purchase order line in a new or existing purchase order. Putting in negative quantity in the purchase order line has the same effect as if you are actually selling from your inventory to the vendor that you want to return the items to. This method is used, for example, when a return is made to a vendor and no reference to a specific purchase order, or to a return merchandise authorization. A number is required. Second, copy original purchase invoice. Another way to issue a vendor credit note is to copy a previously posted purchase invoice. The copy feature is a time-saving feature, as it prevents you from having to key in the original purchase information from scratch. Let me show the exercise. 3.1. I open my Dynamics form. So we have the exercise, and now I am going to show a returning process. This copy purchase order. I open account payable module and the form purchase order. I already have my purchase order status, so I create a purchase order. Then click button function and select create credit note. I allocate necessary purchase order, and I can create all purchase order, or I can create only one line and partial quantity, for example this one. The system for me creates purchase order with negative quantity. After that, I can post my invoice. If I use first name for returning process recording, I simply create a new line and enter negative quantity, for example 10. And after that, I can post my invoice. Return item. The third and final way to issue a vendor credit note is to create a purchase order using the order type return item. So let me show the exercise. Next exercise 3.2. In the same purchase order form, I already have my purchase order with purchase type return item. So I simply create a new purchase order. I locate my vendor. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, and in the field purchase order, I select another type, return item. You can activate the field R&A number. So I select number for returning and click button OK. And after that, I create a line and quantity and negative quantity. I go back to my presentation file. When you return a serialized item to the vendor, you must specify the item serial and batch number on the credit note line. This guarantees that the correct serial batch number will be removed from inventory. It also indicates to the vendor which serial batch number are returned. When creating vendor returns for serialized items, there are the same three options as for non-serialized items: negative quantity, copy the original purchase invoice, and a returned item. So, the way how to create a return purchase order for serialized items are the same, except it is necessary to identify serial and batch number, which you are going to remove from inventory dimension, which you are going to return to your vendor. The return action, a customer returns is about accepting product return from a customer in a situation where the product is, for example, damaged or the quantity is wrong. For customer returns, a return action determines how items should be handled on return to the company. Items can, for example, be returned to regular stock, stored at a special holding location, or discarded. So here you see a return action form. Return actions for sales orders are set up in accounts receivable setup sales orders return action form. You can create multiple return actions, each specifying a different location. Serial batch numbers is applicable, and the option to scrap the item. So you see that in this form, user creates unique code description. In field warehouse, a user can select the warehouse where the item should go when returned from a customer. In the field batch number, user can enter the batch number dimension to use as the default value when generating the item return order. Location, you can select the location where the item must be put. Pallet ID, so you can select the pallet ID for the item returned. So notice that you gain pallet ID dimensions when you have warehouse management module license. So without warehouse management, you can use warehouse, batch number, serial number, and location and pallet ID related to warehouse management. So serial number, you can specify the serial number for the item returned, and checkbox scrap. Select this checkbox if the item should be scrapped on return from a customer. Now, talk about customer credit note. In Microsoft Dynamics AX, you must issue a customer credit note whenever items are returned to the company. As with vendor returns, there are three methods to create customer credit notes: using a negative quantity, copying the original sales invoice, selecting return order type. Creating customer credit notes is basically the same as creating a vendor credit note, except customer credit notes are made from the accounts receivable module. Customers may return products to the company for many reasons, including damage or because the incorrect item was shipped. When accepting a sterilized item back from the customer, it's necessary to specify the item serial and batch number on the credit note line. Now, let me show the exercise. I go back to my Dynamics EX form. I close the necessary windows. I open account receivable module, the form sales order. So I already have my sales order. So I create sales order and create a line with item. And I type quantity minus 3. So now I create returning for non-resaleable items. After that, on the line, I select the tab Setup and select Return Action INSP. Again, line. Then I click button Inventory, Registration, and split it quantity. So I use function split. When I split it in the bottom of this form, I assign serial numbers for every quantity. So here you see, and post it. So I click button post it. After that, I updated sales order with invoice document. Now let me show the transaction. I select the line again, click button Inventory and Manual Line Transaction. So here you see my warehouse, my serial numbers, physical date, financial date, a reference, sales order number, receipt, status purchase, and quantity. So when I record my return process to vendor, system updates issue status solved and quantity with sign minus negative quantity. When I record my returning to customer, system updates receipt status purchase and positive quantity. So system updates on hand in my inventory management. System increase on hand quantity. Now I go back to my presentation file. Item return review. The colored vendor returns negative quantity, copy original purchase invoice, return item, vendor returns with serialized items, customer returns, return actions, customer serialized returns. On this day, we covered Chapter 1, Item Registration, Chapter 2, Reservation and Marking, Chapter 3, Item Return. So I expect you to do exercise regarding those chapters. I expect you read your manuals regarding those chapters. So here's the successive agenda. Next time we will cover Chapter 4, Customer and Vendor Trade Agreement, Chapter 5, Inventory Closing and Adjusting, Chapter 6, Inventory Journals, I expect you to review all exercises and manual regarding the successive agenda. Here are few things you need to know. You need to do your exercise, you need to study by yourself. I am waiting your questions before Friday at 12 p.m. Notice the time is GMT. Here you see my email. Now, let me say to you, thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. Enjoy your manuals and exercise, and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you, Audron. And also I'd like to thank you for your attendance to this live meeting, and I'd like to welcome you to the next week introduction session, week 5. You will receive the login details of this live